What's up, YouTube? So this weekend I'm headed to IMS, which is International Motorcycle Show. We plan on recording some podcasts down there. So I just want to take this time to, while I'm setting everything up, to go over what I put in my bag to film a video podcast. So let's get into it. Alright, so right away to kind of go over what our setup is so you kind of understand what we're doing is it's normally a two-person podcast. We have a host and a guest, and then we put one camera on the host, one camera on the guest. We used to do it a little bit different where we had a wide shot of both of them and then one camera tight on the guest. But now we kind of switch to where we do a tight shot on both the host and the guest. So I'll kind of go over what I pack in my bags. I think it's pretty simple, but some people I get a lot of questions about it. So let's just kind of dive right into what we have. So we'll start with the actual cameras themselves. I have right here an A6500. I don't know if you can see that at all. A6500, pretty solid camera. I also have an A6300, which is what I'm recording on now. Very similar. It looks almost identical to this camera. Works great. Spec-wise, they're very. So to start with the cameras, I use two different cameras. I have an A6300, which I'm filming on right now, so I really can't show you guys that. Then I also have this A6500. This is what I primarily film on, unless I'm on a tripod. If I'm on a tripod, the A6300 works really good. Diving into the lenses, I have this Sony, if you guys can see this, nope, it's not focusing anyway. It's a Sony 90mm macro f2.8. I like to use this one on the host, so it looks really good, really crisp. But being that it's on an APS-C camera, I gotta be pretty far away. So sometimes I don't have the opportunity to use the 90mm in my shots, so I will end up switching to the 18-105 for those situations. Especially when I'm traveling, we don't know what kind of setup we're getting into. When we're at the studio filming a podcast, it's pretty guaranteed I have the room to run the 90. But when we travel, it's hard to say what we're going to run into. So I kind of try to plan for whatever happens. Then I have this 18-105 f4. This works really well as long as there's a lot of light. So sometimes I would typically use this lens to film right now, these YouTube videos, but because I wanted to show you this lens, I'm filming on the 16mm. I don't typically use the 16mm, the Sigma 16 f1.4. I don't typically use that for filming the podcast, but I have it with me if I get in a scenario where I need two very wide lenses to get the shot. I have that with me as well. And then what I normally always use on the guest is this little 50mm f1.8 Sony. It's also stabilized, which again, it doesn't matter because they're on tripods. So I'm really not concerned with that. As far as power goes and batteries, I run battery grips for both cameras with two batteries in it. So if you actually open this door, I can put two fully charged batteries in here. And normally that'll get me two fully charged batteries without plugging the camera in. I can normally get about, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours typically without having to worry. But because it's very crucial to not lose the shot, I plug these in. I have two different setups. I have cords and power blocks. So I actually plug these cameras in while we're recording. That's when we're traveling. So in the studio, we actually have the dummy batteries that go in here. So it's a dummy battery that goes in there. Shouldn't use my middle finger. Dummy battery goes in there and it goes straight into the wall. You never have to worry about running out of battery because it's plugged right into the wall. But we don't always have those options when we travel. So I just bring these two, and if I have the opportunity to plug in, I do. I also carry a battery pack, which I don't have it here with me now, but it's an Anker battery pack, and that will also charge the cameras if I need to. Moving on to SD cards, I bring one full case of SD cards with me. These are all 128 gigs, normally always empty before I leave. These are 464 gigs just in case I need them. Now I carry this empty waterproof SD card case, and the reason for that is as I'm recording and we fill up cards, I want to be able to know what is 100% full and used, and I don't want to have to worry about possibly erasing or formatting a card that's got a bunch of good information on it. So as I pulled out the camera, let's see, this camera doesn't have an SD card in it, but let's just say it did. So I would take the SD card out. I would make sure, if you can see this, I would lock the SD card, make sure it's locked. Then I would put it in this empty black SD card case, close it, and then any SD card in this case, I do not use. Things come into here, nothing comes out of here. The only time I open this case is back when I get back here to my house. Then I'll pull this SD card out, put it in the computer, pull the information. And a little quick tip that I like to do, because I'm a little OCD and I've had problems before, is I copy the footage from the SD card. Leave it locked, copy the footage off, do not cut. I've done that before and it works really well, but on the off chance the power goes out, your computer crashes, who knows what happens, and you corrupt those files somehow when you're cutting instead of copying and pasting, then you may end up losing the file. And if it's the one file that has, the 45-minute video on it, that's going to be a problem. So again, like I said, don't touch anything in this case. Pull them straight out, go into my computer, and I copy the footage off of here. I do not cut the footage. So that way, if for whatever reason the computer was to crash, I always had it still on that SD card, and I can get that footage back. So that's those guys. We also make sure to bring two ND filters. I have these guys from Peter McKinnon. I really like them. I did a lot of research on variable NDs to figure out what I wanted to buy before I bought them. And as far as money per ND, and getting quality glass, these were the best that I could find as far as money goes. Well, let me back up. Not the best as far as money goes. You could spend more money and probably get a better ND filter, variable ND. But the reason why I went with these was because for the price point, you couldn't get anything better. And if you went with something cheaper, they were just trash. The minute you dropped below the $200 range, you got kind of some lower end filters. And I really, especially with it, probably having a APS-C camera probably magnifies the bad ND filters, but there again, I'm no expert with that stuff in color science, but I have noticed when I use the cheaper ND filter, I just did not like the way the skies looked, the way the colors looked. It always looked really soft. So I switched to these guys. As far as they're concerned, no complaints. I absolutely love them. The 2 to 5, it can get a little soft towards the 5. So I just make sure to stay in the lower ranges with it. And again, with the 6 to 9 works great. And the reason why I bring these when I do video podcasts is occasionally we have to record outside, and I do like to try to maintain proper shutter speed, 1/50 of a second if we're filming 24 frames per second. But I'm not scared to overcrank that shutter if I have to. I have, and I will do it again. It is what it is. You got to get the footage right. It's one message I always preach is, I don't always preach this, but one message I try to stick by that's been preached before is message over production quality. So it's all about getting the shot at the end of the day. Doesn't matter what I have to do to get it, but we're getting the shot. Then, because, just like the rest of you guys, I can't afford a lot. So I try to just maximize what I do have. These are all 82 millimeter filters. So if you look, it's 82 millimeter filtering filter. And unfortunately, literally none of the lenses I own are 82 millimeter. They're all smaller. So I went out and I bought on Amazon these step-down filterings. Now, they are cheap, but they're one step. So for example, if I want to go from this is a 49 millimeter filtering for this 50 mil camera. If I wanted to go one step, it would be 49 millimeter, screws right on, and then this filter, ND filter, would screw right on in one single step. So we're not having a big, you know, pyramid of rings. We have one step. These are actually pretty affordable. When you look at them up through Polar Pro or somebody else like that, they're really expensive. And normally they're expensive because they're quality. You don't have any issues with the metal getting stuck or galling or having any problems. But I couldn't afford those. They were $30 a piece. I needed 4 to just to run what lenses I have. So I was like, you know what, that doesn't make any sense for me. So I found these guys on Amazon. They're like $3 a piece or maybe $5 a piece. I can't remember. I'll leave the link in the description below. But these things help and it's not so obnoxious. Then I have one of the soft cases that the Peter McKinnon filters came with, and I just throw those guys in there. So those always go with me. Then I have these 2 little guys are the dummy batteries for these battery grips. Then I have 6 batteries, which if you're familiar with these, what are they, NPF 50s, I think? Oh shit. Yeah, NPF W50. They suck. They die a lot. So I have 8 in total, and the way I typically set it up before I leave the house, as I'm packing the camera bag, I'll take these battery grips and I'll load them each with 2 batteries that are 100% charged, lock them down, then those are ready to go. I don't touch these until I do a podcast. So if I'm using my camera to take pictures, you know, do a vlog or take some video, time lapse, whatever, these always have batteries ready to roll no matter what. So when I get to the place that we're going to do the podcast, we're ready to go. We don't have to stress. We're good. And then I have the other 4, which I have the other 4, which one's in the camera now, one's on the charger, and then I have these 2. So I have these 4 to utilize to take photos, do video, other kind of extracurricular stuff. So I keep those. But that way, you're always ready to go no matter what. Always bring 2 chargers with me because, again, these batteries suck. So we're always charging batteries. And if I can only charge, so I bring 2. I will plug in 2, charge 2 at once. Then I will put 1 in each camera, and I will use these to charge in camera. Pain in the ass, but it is what it is with these smaller batteries. We just make do with what we have. Then now getting into some of the other stuff just to make life easy. I always carry gaff tape. I don't know if you're familiar with gaff tape, but it's a typical, similar like duct tape, but the difference is it doesn't leave a residue. So when you stick it on something like this and you leave it there for 3 days and you go to peel it off, there's just no residue. It's not sticky at all. It's not like all gross like duct tape. So we definitely use that to gaff stuff. No, that's not right. What I use it for is, I'll come back to the gaff tape. So then I also bring an extension cord with a 3-way splitter, and then I also, which I don't have with me right now, bring a multi-strip that's protected. So that way, once I plug all this shit in a hotel room or somebody's apartment or in somebody's conference room, I don't have to worry about blowing their circuit. It's protected. And then I have 2 of the same tripods. Again, I'm using one right now to film this video, and these are just they're $30 Amazon special tripods. They work great. I love it. They work good for what I do. But to kind of touch base on why I use this gaff tape, and I'll show you. So I put, let's say this is probably not the right one, 6300, 6500. So I put these battery grips on the camera. And again, like being prepared and ready, I have these extra plates for these tripods. So the battery grips always have plates on them and are ready to be put on. Bring the camera in, place the camera on the tripod, Obviously, it'll have a lens. You know what? We'll just give you the whole rundown. So y'all know what I do, how it works. Let's say the 50, just because I almost guarantee that I will use the 50. Take this lens off, cap, cover, whatever. Drop the 50 on, and then we're set up to record. But because, like I said, I like to have extra battery, I will plug this in to over here, right? Plug that guy in. But then this cord is just laying and flopping around on the floor, and occasionally there's people in the room walking around, coming and going. Me walking around checking camera equipment to make sure it's charging, it's in focus, there's no problems. So I get worried that there's going to be, one of this is going to happen. And then I'm not going to notice it, and the batteries are going to die, we're going to lose the footage. Or worse off yet, that it doesn't get pulled straight out, that it does one of these numbers and pulls the camera over, or moves it to where now the guest is out of focus. So that stuff stresses me out. So I put what we'll do is we'll take this gaff tape. I don't use a full piece. I rip it in half. So like this. Then I'll rip that off. Then I will take and I'll put like a good sized loop in that cord, and I will tape this up like that. That way, if somebody comes and yanks, it'll slide through there and pull that slack out first. It's like a service loop, right? But I'll leave it in there. That way, just in case we don't get totally screwed and somebody pull the camera out of focus or pull the camera off the tripod, just kind of little safety, if you will. But anyway, guys, that's it. It's not super advanced here. I don't have a $8,000 camera that I'm doing. We're doing this with some pretty bare bones stuff. I mean, yeah, all said and done, it's pretty expensive. I don't even know how much it is, to be honest. I don't want to know how much it all is, but it's done pretty affordable. Now, one thing Oli and I are going to work on this coming up, I don't know, weeks, months, is I want to film a podcast episode with phones. So I have an iPhone X 10. I don't even know the iPhone stuff, but it's a newer one. But I want to film podcasts, 2-camera setup with phones. So that way you guys can see that it's not about the production quality. It's not about the equipment you have. It's about utilizing what you have right now. And most everybody has one of these in their pocket. So we're going to do it. We're going to record with this. I'm going to color grade it. I'm going to edit the video together. I'm going to do it as best as I can, hopefully on my phone, just to kind of show you how real it is and how you can just get it done. If you're interested in seeing these final podcasts I'm talking about, swing over to the Moto Experience. I'll run it on the screen here. I'll leave it in the description below. I'll even do it at the very end so you click the tabby deal. I don't know how to do the whole things up here yet. Don't know. Don't really care. I'll figure it out one day when I really need to do something important like that. Maybe today's the day. I don't know. But anyway, go check him out. It's a good podcast. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the work for him. I was on their last episode. Again, I'll throw that in here somewhere. I was on the last episode, which went really well. I really enjoyed filming that and talking with him. If you're interested in some more behind-the-scenes stuff as we set up the podcast and do that process, do me a favor, run over to my Instagram. It's going to go like this. Some shit like that. I don't know. But head over to my Instagram, follow me. Alright, that's a wrap. We're done. Where's the lens cap? I don't know where the lens cap's at. I don't know. Where's the lens? No. Oh, fuck. What are we gonna do? How you're it's far away. I can't even reach it. It's super far. How about this? Oh, I fucked it. I missed. I think it's just gonna have to fade to black. Or not. Or... Peace, guys. Later. Thank you.